Hello Kerbal, and welcome to part 9 of Mining the Mun. In this episode we're going to be surveying and passive docking. We'll get to that when we get to it. First off, we have to go and survey the area around the crater we're currently mining, but also I want to send a surveyor out to the ore deposit which is near the North Pole, and that is to find out if there is more percentage of ore in that area. Anyway, first things first, let's go and survey the area around this around the crater we're mining, and Nina, they're creating into the all-terrain mun vehicle, or mun-terrain all vehicle, I can't remember they named it now. Anyway, we're going to send her out and scout around the area that we're mining, and see if we can, find more higher ore deposits around the area. Okay, we've set our course and let's go on our way. Well, there's other things I want to talk about as well. Like, where are we going with this? What are we going to do? We could carry on with this mining episode. I am continuing this at the moment, but I was going to pitch the idea to you guys, whoever's watching this. What if we do another series? We know we can mine them and now. It's just a matter of engineering new devices and everything else. What if we do start our own space program? I was thinking of calling it our space program. A little handy tip I hear. If you are using the brakes on this vehicle and you're going uphill, the uphill motion will stop your vehicle, and if you put the brakes on, it'll automatically stop. Which is handy because if you're going downhill, it only stops when you're going at 0, which is weird, because I'd expect it to stop even if you go downhill if the brakes have enough torque. Perhaps the brakes don't have enough torque, so I had to go uphill then use the brakes. Anyway, that aside, what if we start our own space program, and I'll call it our space program, and basically you guys decide what we do in the space program, and it could even be in career mode if you wanted to, or in science mode perhaps. You guys can decide. Let me know if you have a better idea. Let me know about that. But at the moment, let's continue with this episode. Nina's coming out to the rover and she's going to plant another flag after she memorizes how much ore deposit is by here. She's going to come out on EVA, and that's not the thing I want you to concentrate on. The mun vehicle is moving. Quick, Nina, get back to it. Hurry up. Come on, we can count. This can't be that hard. Okay, yeah, we're on course. All you have to do is land on top of it and press F to grab hold of it. But she careers out control. Cue funny music, please. I don't remember Kerbals being this bouncy. Perhaps it's just the female Kerbals. Now I know they bounce a lot on their helmets, but that was ridiculous. This is in 4 times fast forward, by the way. This actually makes it look much more hilarious than it originally was. Oh, bloody hell, come on, can we stop bouncing? She doesn't seem to be enjoying that. Okay, yeah, we're on our way. And it's over the hill, perhaps it's slowed. No, it's speeding up now. Onto the side. No chance. It's going to go down over the hills and back to it. It's going to create off into a crater somewhere. Luckily, Nina hasn't died. What is going on with this game? Whoa, the man's vehicle's going the other way. And again, we hit the ground. Perhaps we can catch it on the crescent as it's going uphill again. Where it does appear to be turning down into the valley. Well, come on. One last try. This time, let's take it easy. Yeah, take it slowly, slowly. And... yay! We're on there. Quick F. Climb up. Don't lose your footing. And in we go. That was a lucky break. Okay. So, I'm going to let this go surveying. And while that's going on surveying, let's go back to the VAB. Or let's go to the space planning hangar and build a base. Okay, for this I was deciding we could build a rover. All the miners will be rovers. So that way we can dock on the rear or the side of it extract the ore, take it up to the space station and refine it. Or even better, we could have the ore processing on their miner itself. Okay, the plan I was having was actually to put the docking ports on the side. And to put the docking ports, you need the mountains there on the side. And yes, I was trying to decide on what fuel tanks should I use, how should I construct this. Should I use a cargo bay instead, or should I use this? I will go with a fuel tank, because that way we can fill the fuel tank with fuel if we process it, and hey presto, everything's working fine. Okay, this is the plan. Docking ports on the side, and we build something on the side there. I was going to build make sure it was all level. However, it was not letting me connect it onto the side. I suppose I could have engineered another way of doing that, like building the craft separately, but that wasn't working. At least I thought I wouldn't get the heights of the rovers correct. And a handy tip here, if you're trying to get these struts on the side, these were going to be the support for the wheels, put them on the side of the rocket or vehicle. That way, angling them will be quite relatively easy. You won't have to precision angle them, if you know what I mean. Then build them on the side. Make sure you connect them to the correct parts, because you're going to move them down to the bottom. And hey presto, we are on our way to making our base for our wheels. I put that on there, and don't forget to add struts to it, because that is only connected in one point on the ship. That means it'll flap about. So supporting is important, especially in Kerbal Space Program. Now, in truth, that's the same thing in real life, like the space shuttle engines or any engines cause a lot of vibrations, so if you don't have the exact support, then you'd have a lot of problems. Right, this is the plan I came up with. We'll have the miners on the side there, docking with their refineries, so we can refine fuel. Again, don't forget the supports. I put them all in cargo bays, so they're all protected and out the way, out of sight, out of mind. So guys, going back while I'm building this, you have the idea of what I'm trying to do by here. What should we do with should we continue this series, or should we create a new series? All ideas are welcome. Especially like the idea of our space program, where you guys also decide on what we do, how we do things, whether we go in career, go in science mode, or go in full-blown sandbox mode, where we have all the parts in stock. And then you guys give me missions to do, or perhaps you can have choices on how to do things. I haven't fully thought it through, but having a plan where we can all come together and say, well, this is what we're going to do. The board of directors, perhaps you can send me craft files in where I could use for our missions. You guys let me know, and then we can try and make something up as we go along. Obviously, it's not going to be working straight off, or if you come up with a better idea, perhaps you can do that. Right, these look ready to test. So we'll call this the large multi-miners. And let's give it a go. Okay, undock. Yep, everything's looking good. Undock. What the hell has happened here? That docking board just fell off. Anyway, let's give it a go. We've got one to test with. Okay. That is weird. That was connected onto this somehow. The probe body was connected to it, and it's damaged our front wheels. No matter. I forgot her name, but she's going to repair it. Well, Kerbals do have large pockets, and they carry spare wheels with them. I suppose you've heard this story before, and for some reason, they're able to repair wheels. And I will pretend they have spare ones in stock on board, and in reality they would, wouldn't they? Okay, there's no way of grabbing onto the hatch. I couldn't get onto it, so I used a cheat to get up on there, but in reality I did build a ramp on the rear of this vehicle with a ladder so they could get up and climb on top of the rover. because it's going to be their base. It's going to be one thing that all the Kerbals can get into and rest and play pool, play mun pool in low gravity. I don't know how that would work. But enough of that, let's get back to it. Well, the idea of these vehicles, they all be the same height. You could use the docking alignment tool to sort of spin your rover forward. And this seems to be a bit rear heavy. You can see it's almost doing a wheelie by here. That'll be a good idea to try, actually. Can you do sort of wheelies, get the craft onto its side, and drive on two wheels? Oh, that's an interesting thing. That'll be good for a stunt thing. A stunt test. Anyway, trying to get this docked. We've got it aligned perfectly. And it does eventually come on there after a couple of rammings of the space of the larger miner. Right, let's give this a test. Start the mining. Everything's working fine. Now, I'm not sure if we'll get any ore from around here. In fact, we are. Surprising. I didn't know we'd have ore around this area. But I suppose, you know, in the game you'd get a minimum amount of ore from any place. So, that's working. Let's deploy them, and I do test it all out. Both the miners, you know, it requires the solar panels for the energy to keep the miners working. However, we've got other things to do. See that large red lump of ore on the top? Yes, that's what we have to do. That's what we have to go to. So Manmore is back in his surveyor. And what he's going to do, he's going to land there. However, I don't know if you watched, I can't remember, it was episode 3 or 4. He landed, surveyed an area that we're currently mining. However, he didn't have RCS, so coming in docking to the space station was hard. All you've got is the one engine, and that makes it a lot difficult. You have to try and orientate your spacecraft. The way I worked it in the end was get quite a distance from the space station, lined up with the docking port very carefully, thrust forward very slightly, and then use the engine to maneuver very slightly left, right, up, down, and I eventually docked. Now I tell you what, that was the longest 30 minutes of my life. Or is it 20 minutes? Anyway, it took almost forever. Okay, so now it's time for landing. Now I was wondering, why don't I spice it up a bit? Well, not at this point, but soon I will. I decided I could do an internal docking view. It's a sort of challenge. I've never actually done it. We're coming down. And I'd wish I'd started it before now, because we're coming straight down, so it's going to be a little easier, isn't it? So IVA view, there's the radar altimeter, tell us the distance to the ground. Speed, vertical speed indicator on the top left but there. So keeping an eye on them, and the nav vault at the same time. Oh, going up. And coming back down. Now we're going at a slight angle now. Which is worrying, because if you've ever landed in Kerbal Space Probe, you're going sideways. You try to correct that in the last minute, you're going to come into all sorts of trouble. So here's me trying to angle it correctly. All you have to do here is try to keep your landing speed just about 5 meters per second, as we have done so now. Slight sideways motions shouldn't hurt us too bad. And we're coming down. Angle throttle. We've landed. Yes, in IVA view. Well, I'll have to do a full mission through IVA view at some point. I've never done it before, but it would be brilliant. It'd be a challenge. Okay, so what ore did we get from this? Come on, Manmore, what a value have we got? 5.66%, that's not even worth our troubles to come up here. Because it's quite an inclination, it's quite high on the North Pole, and the North Pole is a bit more ragged. However, checking that, it must have refined our ore discovery, so let's go to the red patch that is up further that way. Now, trying to get my bearings right on this. Which way do we thrust? Oh, wrong way. Yeah, okay. It's further north for us. It's a nice bright red patch where we'd... Hopefully that'll work in our favour. If we find this ore deposit is not much higher than 5%, then I would say it's rather worth us just mining the area we're currently mining, rather than going up here. Because there's also another problem with this. And again, I'll get to that soon. First off, we have to land this and find out what figures we do get. I'd also like to start mining outside the craters, because I was finding that, especially with any wheeled vehicle, it was hard to get over the rim of the craters. That's one thing to think about when you're coming in from mining any area on the Moon, or any planet for that case. But right now, we've got a landing to perform. And this time I decided, nah, not on IVA view, because, well, we've done it before. We've done it before, it's not really that hard. Let's go straight down. Oh, look at these ridges. That's another thing to think about. The terrain. Now, around by where we are mining at the moment, most around the craters, the ground is quite flat. Now, with our new miners, will they be able to withstand all that? All those humps? Either I'd have to re-engineer them, or they'd be fine, or we don't mine here at all. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Okay, man, more. Bring it in nice and slow. And we have landing, a nice soft landing as well. Okay, what have we got? 8.96%. That's quite high. That's quite good, actually. But will we use it? And here's the reason why. The inclination of the space station is not going over the place where we've landed, or where the ore is, really. And that causes problem, because doing any inclination changes when you're launching costs a lot of fuel, especially since the maneuver we're going to do now. Okay, as we launch up and try to figure out which direction to go, because we're going to have to somehow intercept the orbit of the space station and then do an inclination change. So we do launch, we try to get the man more in the right direction. And what you want to do by here is get our apoapsis right under the orbit. That's the best way to get the most efficient inclination change. So we add the maneuver here. Now we do our orbit burn thing first in the prograde, and then we do the inclination change. And look at our orbit. It stretches out so much. But however, we do finally get it. And luckily we do have enough fuel. But this is a relatively small rocket. Anything larger where we have to deliver fuel, where it's going to cost us more fuel to get the fuel from there, is a bit of a waste. In fact, we might be best sticking with the mining area we have at the moment. So, can we do it? We could disregard the space station, as I said, because that was mainly for us to process the ore, delivering Kerbals and to and from, which I haven't done yet. Anyway, let's get back to our mission at hand. We have to try somehow get this to dock with the station. Doing the maneuvers to get our rendezvous is relatively easy, because you just need a rocket for that. But this is the hard part. Coming up, we have to try and dock this without RCS. However, I have a cunning plan. And that's in the name of passive docking. Right, now we're coming in. I have a brilliant plan here. If you chase that retrograde marker towards the target, it effectively moves away from the area that you're pointing on the nav ball. So you're basically chasing it towards where you want it to go. And I was chasing it towards the space station, so we're heading in that general direction. You see, we're getting closer to counter now. So let's get a bit closer. Then we can kill our velocity to the space station, so we're matching orbit. And again, we're so close that the frames per second on this drop down to about 8 per second. 8 frames per second, that is really slow. This video is speeded up for your pleasure. Right, here's the idea. We're going to undock the Muntug Mark II. And we're going to dock it to the surveyor. And the idea is to dock it there. We can dock then with the space station. But I don't want to dock the Muntug, the large docking port that we've got on the other side. We could ditch that, but then that'll be floating around near the orbit of the space station. It'll be in the way. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to undock that. That way we're left with method C. Docking two spacecraft is quite easy. All you have to do is point them at each other. Thrust forward. And you're docked. Now, how hard is that? That is relatively easy. Okay, here comes the challenge though. I've targeted the docking port. Killing our speed right over the top of the docking port. And the idea is we're going to go thrust in towards the docking port. Control using RCS, make sure we're heading directly for it. Now we have to get those green lines, which shows us we're in line with the docking port. That means we're heading directly for it. We're going to be directly in line with all angles. And once we've done that, undock. Use the thrusters towards away. Now let's take control of this. And this is what I mean by passive docking. We have absolutely no control. We're just flying straight for the docking port. But will this work? There's two possibilities here. Either we go careering into the space station, smashing it. Manuel will go floating off. Not really, because we can always catch back up to him and try again. However, is this a good idea? You have to be close enough to the space station so the angles don't turn too much. You can see I had to orientate the spacecraft there. But with the magnetics of the docking ports, it's worked! Yay! I'm quite proud of that idea. Passive docking maneuvers. Now let's get Manuel back in there and let's end the episode here. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you want to continue with his mining missions. Leave a like in the video below if you also liked it as well. And would you want to continue with this, or do you want to start a new space program, our space program, where you guys decide what we do? Let me know. I'm Orbital, trust me, I'm an engineer. And by the way, we're getting rid of this Muntug, because I'm fed up with it.